Well, it's absolutely the right decision. We now have the withdrawal of the bid, a proper inquiry established into what happened, and we can now get on with the task of clearing up the corruption involving politicians and the press and the police. We can try to create a new set of rules about the concentration of media power, as the present rules are not satisfactory.
And do you expect this bid from News Corp to buy BskyB to come back? I mean, if in 6 months' time or a year's time they wanted to try again, would that be acceptable in your view at this time, or do you think this is forever?
Well, it's very difficult after what's happened to imagine that this is possibly now going to come back. The Parliament was absolutely united today that the bid should be withdrawn. The conditions have changed. We've now got to concentrate on getting things right in future. And that means, in relation to media bids, having much clearer, better rules about the concentration of media power, which is what this was all about, how we define plurality, which is the concept in the legislation. And we've got to get at these deeper problems, which still haven't yet been properly investigated, the relations between the press and politicians and the police.
But you accept, don't you, that what was going on at News International newspapers and others, potentially, that's yet to be discovered, but at News of the World and other newspapers, is nothing to do with BskyB. I mean, the two things are entirely separate.
Well, I think a situation arose where it simply wasn't possible to continue to separate the two issues, and the so-called fit and proper person test would have been applied, or could have been applied in these circumstances. So, yes, the whole set of issues has now become interrelated. But of course, in terms of the future, we've got to separate out the issues around the abuses, which are subject to an inquiry, and how we conduct in future relations between the press and the police and politicians. That's got to be separated from the issues around media ownership and control, where there are problems there because the legislation doesn't work satisfactorily.
And you, of course, famously, or perhaps infamously, said you were declaring war. You had declared war on Murdoch. Do you regard this as a victory in that war?
Well, I don't want to personalise this. My views are well known. They've been out there for quite a long time now. I'm pleased that actually I was able to refer this in the autumn of last year, without which this would now be a fait accompli. But I'm much more concerned that the large numbers of people who have been very deeply hurt by the activities of News of the World, News International and possibly other papers, that they are now being vindicated.